hot off the presses. According to league insiders, DeWanna Bonner has no interest in returning to the Indiana Fever.
After Dana Bonner abruptly left the Indiana Fever in the middle of the season, Natasha Howard merely took to Instagram to vent. The shade was so clear that even blind people could see it coming. Howard's message was very clear. She's calling out quitters while stating that she won't be leaving. This controversy is getting sticky quickly. Do you believe Natasha Howard was correct to publicly criticize Dana Bonner in this way?
Let's
keep it all the way 100. This was the most unprofessional way of going about things that you could have possibly went. Because I genuinely, the way she went about it, I really thought it was something really bad happened. And what made me start to question her reasoning was, I was like, Alyssa Thomas is playing. You know, Steph White's case, she was out for personal reasons. But Lisa was also out, so we were like, okay, it's probably something personal in the family. DeWanna Bonner situation, she said, oh, out for personal reasons, but Alyssa Thomas was playing.
Okay, people, we must discuss the recent events involving Natasha Howard and Dana Bonner because they represent a high-level professional drama that has the WNBA as a whole talking. Natasha Howard decided she couldn't ignore Dana Bonner's abrupt departure from the Indiana Fever in the middle of the season, leaving her colleagues in the dark.
Was the Atlanta Dream game. I actually got to attend that game, and we have not seen her since. It's been said that she was out for personal reasons. People didn't know if this was a family issue, a health problem, a possible retirement. Looks like none of that. Looks like the fit just was off from the beginning. We're going to look at the story in just a second, but that's first my thoughts on it. I think this sucks, obviously, because she was going to be counted on to be a big contributor for.
Here is what transpired. Dana Bonner, who is supposed to be this seasoned leader and championship player who is going to help lead Caitlin Clark and this young Fever team to the promised land, simply decided she was done. She wasn't hurt, traded, or released. She just quit, walked away from her teammates, walked away from her contract, and walked away from everything because it seemed like things weren't going as planned. Natasha Howard, who has been working hard all season long despite not being the ideal fit that everyone hoped she would be, decided to speak up after seeing what Bonner did. Howard shared lyrics from the song We Not Done on her Instagram story, and if you think that's a coincidence, you probably also believe in the Tooth Fairy.
Minutes ago, obviously after the whole DeWanna Bonner situation, immediately posting song lyrics to a song called We Not Done. We not done. Yeah, we not done. She's out going posting we not done. And I don't know, again, I'm not going to say there's a shot at DeWanna Bonner, because at the end of the day, there is a non-zero chance that she sat down all the team, apologized to the team, said it wasn't working out, and while they'll be pissed, maybe they're...
However, things improve. When prominent athletes engage in follow and unfollow games on social media, you can tell that things have fully gotten out of control. Howard unfollowed Bonner on social media and then followed her again, adding to the chaotic drama of the issue. It is clear from Howard's post time that this was aimed at Bonner just 54 minutes after the news of Bonner's predicament broke. Howard is releasing We Not Done lyrics to call out someone who left the squad and to make it obvious that she isn't leaving. This isn't about keeping fans inspired for the match. The timing here isn't subtle. When your teammate leaves the franchise and you start posting about not quitting right away, everyone knows exactly who you're referring to. Howard also wrote something saying that she's not leaving the team and that she will reply on the court again.
That said, DeWanna Bonner listed Phoenix as one of her preferred destinations.
The fact that Bonner was meant to be the season presence and steady hand that would help this young team deal with the pressure of being in the spotlight, but instead became the first to leave when things got tough, is what makes this whole situation even more absurd. That's some leadership right there. The Fever signed Bonner to a big contract worth $200,000 because they believed she would bring stability and championship experience to a team that was trying to build something special around Caitlin Clark. Instead, she played 14 games, couldn't find a role, and decided to leave like a kid on the playground. Meanwhile, Natasha Howard, who everyone said was a dubious signing and is criticized for not being the right fit, has been showing up to every game, working hard to make it work with her teammates, and doing whatever the coaches ask of her. She may not be flawless, but at least she isn't a quitter. Howard arrived at Indiana with the knowledge that she might not be the best match and that the system might not play to her strengths. She also knew that she would need to change her style, but she has done all of that without openly criticizing or deserting her teammates. However, Bonner arrived with all of these demands, received a starting position, a lot of playing time, and every chance to thrive. Yet, when it wasn't precisely what she wanted, she simply quit. That isn't experienced leadership. That is veteran selfishness. When your own teammates are disparaging you on social media, it indicates that you truly messed up. The fact that Howard felt obliged to publicly call this out tells you everything you need to know about how the locker room feels about Bonner's actions. Professional athletes often deal with these matters in secret, but Howard clearly believed that Bonner's behavior was so inappropriate that it warranted a public reaction. Even more telling is the fact that Howard didn't just post once and move on. Instead, she made several posts, changed her follow status, and made sure everyone knew exactly how she felt about the situation. This isn't accidental. Rather, it's deliberate messaging from someone annoyed by a teammate's lack of dedication. The front office of the Indiana Fever must have been thrilled to see Howard's response here, as they're dealing with the embarrassment of having a veteran player leave them in TH over the years. Fans of the Fever have experienced a great deal of disappointment. Just when things were beginning to improve with Caitlin Clark and this youthful core, they had to cope with a veteran player leaving the team. Howard's posts essentially said, "Don't give up on us because one person gave up on us." The business side of this makes Bonner's decision even more inexcusable. She signed a contract, took the money, and then decided she didn't want to honor that commitment when things got tough. Professional sports don't allow you to choose when you want to be a professional based on whether everything is going exactly as you want it to. Howard, meanwhile, has been nothing but professional despite likely having her own frustrations with how the season has gone. She's not putting up the numbers she's capable of. The team isn't winning as much as they hoped. The system doesn't perfectly fit her skill set, but she's still showing up and performing her job. The social media aspect of this whole situation is especially cruel to Bonner because in today's NBA and WNBA, everything is scrutinized and every post is examined. Every follow and unfollow garners attention, and Howard made sure that her feelings about Bonner's decision were crystal clear to anyone who paid attention. What's really hurting Bonner is that her call-out will follow her everywhere she goes in the future. Her teammates will know that she quit on her team when things got tough in Indiana, and future coaches will wonder if she'll do the same to them if things aren't perfect. On the other hand, Howard is establishing a reputation as someone who never gives up, who keeps her word, and who will support her teammates even when things aren't going well. That's the kind of reputation that expands careers and opens doors. It's made worse by the timing of Bonner's departure. Her departure caused roster concerns and chemistry problems in the middle of the season, not during the off-season when clubs could plan and make adjustments. The Fever ultimately had to waive Bonner and bring back Ari McDonald on a hardship contract just to have enough bodies to field the team, which is not how professional organizations want to operate and is undoubtedly not something that helps team chemistry and continuity. Howard's posts were likely also an expression of frustration over having to deal with those disruptions. Howard's choice to speak up also demonstrates her concern for the team and its supporters. She didn't want Bonner's self-centered action to cast the team in a negative light. Instead, she wanted to show that some players were still dedicated to making this work and that not everyone was giving up. The "We're not done" message is also aimed at the other teams in the league. They may dismiss the Fever struggles, but Howard is stating that they still have strength left and won't allow one player's choice to ruin their entire season from a leadership standpoint. Young players like Caitlin Clark need to see Howard come up like this. When a veteran leaves, it may demoralize the entire locker room, but when another veteran steps up and says, "We're not done fighting," that's precisely what they need to witness. That conveys a very different meaning. The disparity in professionalism is evident as well. Bonner simply vanished, leaving her teammates to handle inquiries from the media and conjecture over what transpired. Howard handled the matter. Heaton made her stance plain and moved on, which is how veterans are meant to deal with hardship. Howard's social media activity also demonstrates her understanding of the business side of basketball, since she is aware that leaving a team harms your reputation and restricts your options going forward. She is ensuring that everyone is aware that she is not that kind of player, and the fact that this happened in such a public way was most likely precisely what Howard intended. She had the option to handle this discreetly and keep her views to herself, but instead she made a public statement indicating that she wanted other players, coaches, and front office officials in the league to understand how her strategy differed from Bonner's strategy for Fever supporters. After dealing with the disappointment of Bonner's resignation, Howard's response had to be welcome. Witnessing another seasoned player rise to the occasion and pledge to persevere through hardship likely restored some faith in the team. The ramifications of this situation will extend beyond this season as well. Howard has made a name for herself as a player who will persevere through difficult times, which is advantageous in free agency, useful in trade talks, and in any basketball scenario going forward. Howard's readiness to call out unprofessional behavior also demonstrates leadership qualities that weren't immediately apparent before she saw something that was detrimental to team culture and chose to address it publicly, which takes courage and demonstrates that she cares about more than just her own personal situation. In the meantime, Bonner has made a name for herself as someone who might leave her teammates if things don't go her way. The message that Howard sent will also resonate throughout the organization because young players are observing how veterans deal with hardship, and Howard simply demonstrated to them that when things get tough, you don't give up, you don't desert your teammates, you keep fighting. This entire situation has likely strengthened the bonds among the remaining Fever players as well because nothing unites a team like facing hardship together, and Bonner's departure undoubtedly qualifies as adversity. Howard's leadership at this time will most likely benefit the team dynamic in the future.